Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you to our Bhagavad Gita class. As you are already aware, the objective of this class is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. We are on chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Conscious. We have already covered three sections of this chapter. Last time we covered from 5.6 to 5.12, which is characteristics of Yoga Yukt. And today we will start with from shlok number 13 onwards. But before we start, let's just summarize. So this chapter starts with Arjun's question to Krishna that what should he do? Should he take sannyas or he do Nishkam Karma Yoga? He's confused by the explanations given by Krishna in the previous chapter 42 and 43 shlok. So now Krishna says Nishkam Karma Yoga, working in spirit of renunciation, and sannyas, that is renunciation of work, are both same. But for Arjun, working is better because premature renunciation is distressful. So he proposed that Arjun should continue with Nishkam Karma Yoga. Yeah. And let us quickly go through summarize the shloks that we did last time. We started from 5.6. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogata yoga yukto manar brahmana charenadi gachati. Here, Krishna talked about two types of sannyasi. One sannyasi who is yukta, who is attached to Krishna, and the other one who is not attached to the Krishna. He says the one who is ayukta, who is not attached, what will happen? He will achieve dukkham apnotum ayogata. If you're not attached, then you will get a lot of dukh. And the one who is yogyukta, who is attached, what will happen? Achirinadi gachati. Very soon he'll achieve the supreme. Then in the next shlok, he talked about yogyukta vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. He said that those who are yogyukto, those who are attached to the God, to the Supreme, what are the characteristics of such yogyukt person? Such yogi is basically Vishuddhatma. He is a pure soul, which is Atma. He controls his mind, and Jitendriya, he controls his senses, and is Sarvbhutatma Bhutatma. He is dear to everyone, and whatever he does, he kurvanapi na limpyate. He never gets entangled whatever work he does. And then we went to the 8th and 9th shlok where Krishna said a person who is already elevated to the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So here, this talks about the divine, the elevated yogi who's spiritually very advanced. What will happen? That the yogi very well knows that the soul is very different than the body, and he is one who is actually watching the body to act. Body will continue to do with activities. Yeah, till the soul is inside the body will continue to do the activities meant for hearing, sleeping, whatever the sense object we talked about. We talked about the 10 sense objects, and rather we talked about all the 24 elements. And for the person who is elevated spiritually, who is in divine consciousness, knows very well that he is just sitting in this and is an observer. He is not participating in the bodily activity, and that is the symptoms of a liberated person. Then we talked about Brahmanya Adaya Karmani Sangam Tektva Karotiya Lipyate na sa papena Padma Patram Vivambhasa. We talked about one who performs his duty without attachment. He's just doing that the activity without attachment to the results of it. What will happen? And he's sending all the results to the Supreme Lord. Then he will not get affected by sinful action, just like a lotus leaf. Although in the water, it's untouched by the water. So we explained that shlok. Then we talked about Kayena Mansa Buddhya Kevalerindriyapi yoginah karma kuruvanti sangam tyaktvam ashuddhaya. Here we talked about the yogis abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, and intelligence, and even with the senses, and only for the purpose of purification. All their work is for purification. And the last slok that we talked about last time is Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. And here we talked about the again the yogi who is yukta, who is attached, who is actually yukta, attached to the supreme. What will happen once he's attached to supreme and he's able to all the results is able to give away to the supreme, then what will happen? He gets unadulterated shanti, peace. Yeah, that is the way to get the permanent nashtikam, the peace. Always you are always in a peaceful state. And the one who is ayukta, who is not connected to Krishna, kam karen phale lakto, he is always bound, who is greedy about the enjoying the fruits of the labor. That person is always entangled. Yeah, so this is how we finish the last class. So today we are going to take the next three very important shlok, and what we are going to learn about the three doers. And who are the three doers? The soul, the super soul, and the material nature. So let's go to shlok number 513. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navdvare pure dehi naiva kurvan karayan sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navdvare pure dehi naiva kurvan karayan. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navdvare pure dehi naiva kurvan karayan. Now here Krishna is talking about, let's read the meaning in English. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all action, he resides happily in the city of nine gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyata. Now here it is sarva karmani. You are doing all the activity, but manasa sanyasyasate. But from mind you have renounced it. You have taken sannyas. Although you are sarva karmani, you are doing all the activity as it should be done, all the thing. But mentally, by mind, you have renounced the fruits of that. Then what will happen? Sukham vashim. You will get sukh. You will get happiness. You will get happiness. Navdvare pure. What is Navdvar? Navdvar means Nav is 9, Dwar is gates. And what is Navdvar Pure? Pure means city. Puri means Jagannath Puri. It is Puri is city. So what is Navdvare Puri? Navdvare Puri is basically our body. Navdvare Puri is our body. And what is Dehi? Dehi is the soul. They and Dehi. Deh is the body and Dehi is the one who resides inside the body, which is soul. Dehi is one which resides inside the body, which is soul. Kurvana neva kurvan karayan. Neither it is working nor causing work to be done. So here Krishna is trying to explain that, like, we know our Shastra talks about, we can mentally, we also have an option of mentally offering sevas to God. Yeah, that's called Manas Puja. Now, suppose I want to decorate my God with all beautiful ornaments, but I can't afford it. And I want to give them always chappan bhog, 56 types of, but I can't afford it. So, in our scriptures, we also have an option where we can actually sit, meditate, get it, and offer it to the Lord, and that is acceptable. That is accepted. That is imagination. That is acceptable by devotion. Yeah, that is Manasa Puja. So by mind we can do, this is devotional. But for a yogi, it is what he is doing. Although he is doing the thing, but he's manasa sannyasite. So mind is renouncing. So what will happen in that case? He does not get entangled by the fruit of his activity. So he remains aloof in the Navdwarepuri, in the city of 9 gates, right? And then what is he doing? Although he's doing everything, so still he is neither working nor causing work to be done. It means he will have no reactions towards it, right? Now, this Navdwarepuri, that is the city of 9 gates, is a very interesting story in Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam. But before that, let's talk about Krishna, what Krishna tells to Arjun. So we all know what happened in the beginning. Arjun is very much attached, entangled, and he is not seeing the soul and body differently. He is seeing himself as the body, and he is actually getting pain by the thought of killing his own kinsmen. And he's compassionate, and he's not able to. He's refusing to fight. So what Krishna is telling Arjun is, "Oh Arjun, the soul Arjun, separate yourself from the body Arjun." Now, because the soul is now engaged in a body, which is a Kshatriya body, so he has to do his prescribed duty of a Kshatriya. What is the prescribed duty of a Kshatriya? Is to save the Dharma. So Krishna says to Arjun, you have to do your prescribed duty because you are in a Kshatriya body and you have to save the Dharma. But even you're doing that, but let the soul Arjun does not get entangled with that, get attached to the bodily culture, so that you are aloof and you will not get any reactions from the activity that you are performing. Be the Nishkam Karm Yogi. Yeah, that's what Krishna is explaining to Arjun. Now in Bhagavatam, for Navdwarpuri, there is a very beautiful story. It's a very, very long story in 4th canto, but I'll try to, I'll squeeze it and tell you the gist of the story. So this story in Navdwarpuri is about a king, and this king, his name is Prachin Brahishad. This king is actually, he does lots of yagya, but all his yagya is to ask for fruitive results. It is a karma kand. Karma kand means you are performing karma and you want to enjoy the fruits of the work. So he is following the karma kand part of the Veda. He keeps on doing it. When one yag finishes, he starts doing the other yag, but he's all doing it for the fruitive results. Now Narad, seeing that he's such a great king, he wants to tell the king that this is not the right way to live. Rather, it should be that, offer everything to Supreme. So what he does, he goes to the king, Prachin Brahishad, and he starts telling him a story. Now, this story that he's actually telling him is about himself, but later in the end, he will realize that it was about him. So Narad says that, he tells the king, Prachin Brahishad, that once there was a king, a very, very great king called Puranjan. And this whole story is allegorical. It means each of the things story actually is, it represents something else. So he's talking about King Puranjan, who is a very, very great king. And this King Puranjan is the Atma. Yeah. And this King Puranjan, he is now looking for a nice place where he can build his palace. He can build his city. So he's going around throughout the universe searching for the right place where he can build his palace. And during this whole search, he finds a city with 9 gates. And now, what is this 9 gates that we talk about? If you look at our body, we have nine method to take the input or output. So, for example, it is 2 eyes. We have 2 ears. We have nostrils. So this becomes 2, 4, 5, 6. 1 mouth, 1 anus, and 1 genital. So these are the 9 gates that we have. Right. So this city is basically, so the King Puranjan founds a very beautiful city of 9 gates, and he finally decides to build his palace in the city. It means that Atma Puranjan decided to stay in this body. Now, this city has got very, very nice walls, which basically talks about the skin of our skins. Then he talked about it has beautiful parks and bushes, which talks about the hair of his hair. Then he talked about nice towers, the race parts of our body. And similarly, he went on describing the nine city, like which was allegorical to the body. Now, there he saw, when he went to that city, he found there's a very beautiful lady, and that lady, she was accompanied with 10 servants. That beautiful lady was accompanied with 10 servants, and each of these 10 servants had hundreds of wives. Yeah. So, and she was so beautiful, so attractive that King Puranjan could not help but was gazing at her. And slowly he realized that the lady, that beautiful lady, was actually looking for a husband, because she didn't have anyone, and she was probably in search of a husband. So King Puranjan went to her and offered to marry her. Now she was so beautiful, and the King Puranjan was so handsome that that lady readily agreed to marry him, and she became Puranjini. Yeah. So who was this beautiful lady? She was intelligence. Yeah. Now Atma and intelligence cannot be effective without Atma, without soul. Yeah. So the intelligence married the Atma, took the, yeah. So that is, so she was the one. Now the 10 servants that she had are the 10 senses. And the hundreds of wives that the senses had are the desires that each sense have. What do the senses have? They have the desires. Yeah, they have. Now, also, she was protected by a five-hooded snake. So what is this five-hooded snake? The five-hooded snake is basically the pranavayu. They are the pranavayu. So life airs that we have. So there are 10 life airs, but five are main. And in that, actually, Atma, it covers the Atma. Yeah. And that is what was, there was the snake with five hoods. Yeah. And then what happened? They both got married, and they started living happily and enjoying their days and nights. And then the Puranjan and Puranjani, they had multiple sons and daughters, and they had multiple grandchildren. So they are nothing but the actions and reactions of their karma, right? And then what happened? As in a kingdom, there are other kings who try to attack. Similarly, finally, there was a king called Chandavek. He attacked the king Puranjan. And this Chandavek, he had 720 soldiers with whom he attacked. So what is Chandavek? Chandavek is basically, Veg is time. Yeah. The time, actually, there was a time, finally what happened, the time kept on passing by. They were enjoying and busy enjoying in each other, and getting karmas, actions and reactions of it. They were accumulating that, and we're slowly getting old. The 720 is basically there, the days and nights. Yeah. And by each passing day, the king and Puranjan, they were getting older. They were getting older, right? So what happened was, at the time, so now what happened? Uh, Chandravek was attacking Puranjan. Now, Chandravek had a daughter called Jara. Jara is means old age. Yeah. So Jara now was carrying a garland, and she wanted to marry Puranjan, and she, with the garland, she was going around. But no one wants to take her garland. No one wants to get old. Everyone wants to remain young. Yeah. So she kept on, but no one was ready to accept her garland. And finally, she went to Bhay. Bhay said, no, 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 I cannot marry you, but I'll take to my elder brother, who is Prajwal, who is, what do you call it? Prajwal. Basically, it is a high fever. So, and when the old age went to Prajwal, he agreed to marry her, and they got married. So whenever there's when it's old age and when you're about to die, during that time, what is called, it is Prajwara, which actually it's a high fever, which is accompanied by that. So they finally came together, and they married. They took and attacked the King Puranjan fine during the course, and with and you know when and with once that got attacked, they had to pull out the life air, and finally the whole King Puranjan, and finally by force was left his body, right? So conditioned soul. This is a story of not only King Puranjan or Prachin Braheshan. It's a story of all of us. All of us do like that. We keep on enjoying, and finally when it's a time to die, we don't want to die, we still want to enjoy, because we have so many attachments, so many unfinished work. We still want to live, we still want to enjoy, and we still want to have the days like this, right? So this is a story of all of us. And then when we are dying, the because everyone, all of us are temporary, so what will happen? The old age, actually it will be forced to let the pran leave. We'll be forced to let the pran leave, because we will not like to do like to the soul leave and the prana leave, right? Life air leave, because we are not prepared for it. And because of the way we have lived our life, we have accumulated a lot of actions and reactions, and we'll have to then again take birth to actually take the reactions of all the actions, right? But then, so one who is attached will happen, the prana, vayu and the soul will get pulled out, and it will be too much fear. It will be a very, very fearful death. But someone who is actually connected, who has spiritual intelligence and is connected to God, what will happen? It can live peacefully without fear and without pain, and will go to the spiritual kingdom and will have a peaceful life, right? So that is what is the story in Bhagavatam about Navdware Puri. So here it says again, so the body, but someone here, Sarva Karmani means, so once you have renounced mentally the reaction, the fruits of the activity that you are doing, then you are situated happily inside the body, because you are connected to God, and nothing matters. No reactions will come to you, right? So now it means we are saying that the soul is not doing any work in this case, right? Now, when is the soul not doing any work? When the soul is really highly evolved, and it has a realization that I am soul and my body is different. Then he's sitting and watching and letting the body do the action, and not getting entangled with the actions of the body. Clear? We go to the next slok. Na कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्मफलसंयोगम् स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजते प्रभु न कर्मफलसंयोगम् स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. माताजी, न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्मफलसंयोगम् स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. Let's read the English meaning. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activity, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So here Krishna says, na kartitvam na karmani lokasya sijati prabhu. Prabhu here is talking about the master of the city of this body. So who is the master? The soul is the master of the city of his body, right? He is considering himself as the master of the body, right? And then what he's saying, there are three na kartitvam na karmani na karmafal sanyogam. So the soul is neither doing any activity, neither he does not create any activity, na karmani, neither any doing any activity, na lokasya na kartitvam, neither he is inducing people to act, nor karmafal sanyogam, neither he is creating the fruits of action. So the soul is not doing anything. The question is, if soul is not doing anything, then who is doing what? And the next answer is sabhavastu pravartate. It is sabhavas, it's a material nature. Sabhav is the material nature. It is the material nature which is actually doing the things. Now, how there's a modes of material nature, which is actually doing. So it is not the soul, but it is the modes of material nature which is doing the thing. So how can the what is modes? So we have talked about this earlier, much earlier in the second and third chapter, right? How earlier Krishna also has told that it is prakriti kriya manani. It's a prakriti which does the work. It's not me. Everyone thinks that I am doing the doer, but actually the doer is the prakriti, right? That's also what Krishna has told earlier. So how is prakriti doing the work? What exactly it happens? So we all know that soul. What is soul? Krishna says in 15th chapter 15 that Mamai Vansho Jeevaloke Jeevbhuta Sanatana. Soul is a it's a part of me, it's a part and parcel of me. It is an eternal part and parcel of me. And soul is pure, right? Soul is pure. But what happens? And soul is basically a part of Krishna, servant of Krishna. But what happens when the soul says, I don't want to serve you. I want to be the master. I want to enjoy. Then what happens? When the soul wants to enjoy, then Krishna creates this temporary world. It creates this temporary world, this material world, where the soul can go and feel himself or herself as the master of the activity. The soul can consider, in temporary world, it's given the freedom so that they feel that I am the master and I am the doer, because they want to imitate, they want to be the master. So they go away from Krishna to this, Krishna sends to this material world. And we learned that as soon as the soul touches the material world, it becomes conditioned. It becomes conditioned. Conditioned by what? Conditioned by the three modes of material nature. And what are the three modes of material nature? It is ignorance, passion, and goodness. It is tamas, rajas, and sattva, right? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So it comes now. Why when the soul comes here out of ignorance, they basically do activity because of which they get more entangled, which causes more suffering, So why does the suffering happens? Why actually it happens? Because of ignorance, because of avidya. What is avidya? Avidya is, they think that they forget themselves, that they are their soul and part of Krishna. They can start considering themselves as part and parcel of this body. That is avidya. Ignorance is considering themselves as a part of the body, not understanding themselves as a separate one, a part of Krishna, and they have to go back to the Godhead. They have to go back, right? That they don't. So they consider themselves as the master of the body, and they get more and more entangled in the activity. So what happens whenever we do an activity? Whenever we do an activity, there is a reaction to it. So the activity is like, we sow it's like sowing a seed, and when we sow a seed, what happens? There's a reaction to it, and that is prarabdha. Yeah, that is prarabdha. Now, that the reaction could be, we talked about it much later earlier also, the reaction could be seen in this lifetime, or it depends upon the type of sinful activity we have done. The beach can actually can fructify in this lifetime, or it may get fructified in future. So it's called aprarabdha karma. Aprarabdha karma will fructify later in some lifetime of ours, which we don't know, right? And that's what aprarabdha karma actually gets into two directions. Once later it will get fructified sometimes in lifetime, and also what happens, whenever there's a activity that we do, there's also an impression in our consciousness for that activity. There is an imprint of that activity gets into our consciousness, and that is what is called, it's called kutam. And that is how sanskar are built. Why do we do what we do? Why do I behave like X and I don't behave like Y? Or why do I behave the way I do? It's because of my sanskar. It's because of the imprints in my consciousness. Right? Some people behave the way they do because of it's not only because of this lifetime. It is the soul has been changing millions and millions of body. And they have been doing actions and reactions, and which may get fructified. So, that is the reason someone is born in a rich family, someone is born in a poor family, someone has some problem, someone has other problem. It is all because of our karma, and at what time the seed gets fructified. And also the reaction, what imprints we are carrying along with us. That is how we behave the way we behave. Right? So this is prarabdha gets into two parts, which become prarabdha then, and now, for example, think about a alcoholic. Alcohol. Maybe someone got because of the association with the friends, or because you have been watching some serial where you saw people are smoking and drinking, and what you had a desire to have a drink. So what will happen? Because you had a desire, you have a reactions to it. You have to have a karmic reaction to that. At the same time, you will have an imprint in your consciousness, which will also, the kutam is the one which what do you call it? It has a propensity to make you do it again and again. And then what will happen? It will because you had done it, you'll again have a tendency to go towards that, and again your imprints become stronger, and again you'll have a desire to take it, and this is how it keeps on happening. And then, why all these things happened? What was the root cause of it? It was because of ignorance. You thought that the desire that you're going to have, you are going to enjoy it. So it's all because of your avidya, ignorance of what is right, what is wrong, and considering yourself as a body. So how can you actually come out of it? You can come out of it by vidya. What is vidya? When you say vidya, by your intelligence, when you actually get into a good association, when you get into association, when you get into you actually in a good company, you could be watching good things, you can be reading good books, you can be reading your scriptures. What will happen? When you get into good company, then you get the knowledge, and when you get the knowledge, you have an understanding of what is wrong, what is right, and also then you start understanding about body, soul, and you start understanding and working towards it. Then what will happen? You can actually burn out all your bij, all your kutam and all your bij. If you go towards, if you are you get spiritually advanced, you have the capability to burn all your seeds, all your bij and all your kutam. You can actually and actually, so Krishna says, sarvdharma parityaje mam ekam sharanam bhaja aham tvam sarva pabebhyo mokshasyami masuchi. So when you surrender yourself to Krishna, and you get the knowledge and you move forward spiritually, what happens? You can actually burn out all your bijam and kutam, right? So what we talked about, we said, who is the doer? Actually, it is the material nature which is doing as per this shlok, it is the material nature which does the work. And also in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we have already read this shlok. Prakriti kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvasya ahankara vimuratma kartaham iti manyate. Actually, it is the prakriti, it is the material nature which actually does, and the guna, the modes of material nature which actually does the work. But ahankara vimudhatma, the atma, we think that we are the actual doers. So now the question is material nature independent? Is the modes of material nature independent? Or is it governed by someone? Can they do whatever can material nature? So material nature is represented as external energy of the god, Prakriti. And who is external energy of the god? It is Durga Devi. It is goddess Durga, which is the external energy of the world. So what happens when the soul comes to the world, in the conditioned material world, they get conditioned, and they are under the influence of Maya. This material world is Maya Jal. That's why we say it's a Maya Jal. You're influenced by the Maya Jal. Yeah. Now, is material nature independent? So here Krishna says in the 9th chapter, 10th shloka, Krishna says, Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharachara hetu nanena kaunteya jagat parivartate. He says, Krishna says that Prakriti is one of my energy, and I am the controller of it. And I am the controller of it. Prakriti is one of my energy and I'm the controller of it. Now, if Prakriti is one of Krishna's energy and Krishna is controlling it, then why should the soul suffer for the reaction? Because Prakriti, we saw that Prakriti is doing all the work, material nature is doing all the work, and it's controlled by Krishna. So material nature is doing because Krishna is sanctioning. If Krishna is sanctioning and material nature is doing, then why should soul suffer the reactions? Good question, right? We read in the 14th shlok, everything is done by modes of material nature. Then we read in the ninth that it is basically the Krishna is the controller of Prakriti, and he sanctions, then the material nature does. So it is done by material nature, and it is sanctioned by Krishna. Then why should the soul suffer? Good question. Yeah. So let us see the answer of it. So now we'll read the 15th shlok. नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभु अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभु अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. Let's read the English meaning. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activity, embodied beings, however are bewildered, because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So here in this shlok, Krishna says, Na datte kaschitam papam. I do not take account of anyone's pap. If the soul has done the pap, he has to take the account. I am neutral. Yeah. Na chaiva sukritam vibhu. Now similarly, neither I they assume or neither accept all your pap, neither I chaiva sukritam, neither your pious activity. I don't get attached or anything. I don't take any of your activity. Ajnanena vritam jnanam. Now your jnana is avritam. Avritam is covered by agyan. Your jnana, your knowledge is actually covered by ignorance. Tena muhyati jantava. Jantava is the living entities. All the living entities are bewildered because their jnana is actually covered by agyan. And that's why they are bewildered. But I do not accept anything. So I am like a judge. I am just watching. If someone victims comes, I give punishments. I don't say that, okay, victim, I'm taking your pap and I'm judge will just listen and take. So I'm just there. I'm just listening and I'm just doing the work. I'm not taking your pap or I'm not taking your punya. Yeah. Similarly, like a teacher comes and teaches. And he teaches everyone to equally, but some students get good marks, some doesn't get good marks, right? Yeah. So he is like, and teacher is not bothered. Teacher will teach and go. Teacher is not responsible. Teacher will teach and go, right? So here, there's a story of cow and the farmer. So once what happened? There was a farmer. He had big grasslands, and he has he had big lands, and he had put what do you call it? Wheat. That was paddy was. It was grown, and then the cow came, and cow started actually eating the things. So what the farmer did, he started beating the cow, and finally the cow died. Now the farmer was called by Yamraj. So when the Yamraj, he said, who killed the cow? He said, Krishna. How? Because everything is done by material nature and Krishna. So how? I'm not responsible for it. Go and ask Krishna. He says, okay, who built this house? He said, I built. Okay. Whose land is this? It is my land. Who had put the wheat? I have done it. Who killed the cow? That alone Krishna. Huh? So the thing is, it is Krishna is not going to get interfere into anything. He is just based on your karma. He will sanction based on your how Krishna does is, the soul actually desires. The soul actually desires. Based on the soul's desire, whether Krishna likes or not like, based on the karmic reaction of the soul, he will either sanction it or he'll stop it. He sanctions. And when he sanctions, the material nature actually executes it. So that is the these are the three components how things happen in our life. So what is the whole problem? The problem is actually, it starts by the soul. It starts from the soul, because the soul desires. And after desiring, it doesn't do anything. It just sits. It doesn't take part in any of the activity. But the soul has done the biggest thing is of desiring. So when the soul desires, based on the karmic creation of the soul, Krishna, sitting as Paramatma in the heart, either approves it or disapproves it. And then if Krishna approves it, the material nature actually makes it happen. So these are the three components that actually acts, because of which things happen in our life. And why it happens the way we are, finally we are the culprit because we desire. So who is responsible? The soul is responsible for whatever is happening in your life, because we have desired it. We had desired it, and may not be in this lifetime, but in some lifetime we have desire, and that is why we are actually enjoying or suffering the results of it. Understood? How actually, what are the three components that actually controls the way things happen in our life, and how it is? Desires, and then Paramatma sanctions, and the Prakriti creates a situation because of which it gets executed. Got it? Material nature's role is, it actually creates a situation so that it can get executed. Yeah. So now we go to the next shlok, 16th shlok. Jnanena tu tad jnanam. 16th shlok. 16. Yeah. Jnanena tu tad jnanam. 5.16. 1.6. Yeah. ज्ञानेन तु तज्ज्ञानम् येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषाम् आदित्यवत् ज्ञानम् प्रकाशयति तत्परम् ज्ञानेन तु तज्ज्ञानम् अज्ञानम sorry येषां नाशति आत्मनम् तेषाम् आदित्यवत् ज्ञानम् प्रकाशयति तत्परम्. Now here Krishna says jnanena tu tad ajnanam. Now that ajnan, when covered by when it is covered by when it is, so now here we are going to learn what happens when the soul gets the knowledge. When the soul gets the knowledge, so what will happen? When you get knowledge, it gets liberated. Knowledge is for when you get the knowledge that I am the soul, I am not this body. And when you start acting, when the soul starts performing the activity of the soul, which is spiritual activity, then what happens? The soul actually moves towards the liberation. The soul actually moves towards liberation from the bondage of the material activity. Clear? Yeah. So here Krishna says, when however one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nuisance is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything. As the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Right? So jnanena tu tad ajnanam. So by when the knowledge actually it kills the agyan, it kills the ignorance in the atma. Then what happens? Just like aditya, just like sun rises and it actually brights up the entire universe. Similarly, the knowledge brights up the entire of the knowledge of the soul. And then the spiritual knowledge does that, and then the soul understands that I'm not this body, I'm this atma, and I'm separate, and I'm actually part of Krishna, and I have to go back there, right? So the material knowledge that we study is just like a torch. In the darkness, when there's dark, there's a fear. When there's dark, there's a fear, right? And when there's a fire, we don't know. We are fearful in going in out in dark, where there's a ditch, what will happen? We can't see anything, right? But then in that, if the material knowledge is just like a torch in the dark, how much light a torch can produce? Yeah. Or we can also compare it with a firefly, a jugnu. How much light a jugnu can give? But once you get a spiritual knowledge, it is like a sun coming out, and you are able to see everything bright, and you are able to move forward and get liberated. Yeah. So Krishna says in the 9th chapter, the 2nd shlok, it says, Raja Vidya Rajakohyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyava. He says this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, is the Raj Vidya. It is the king of all knowledge. It is the spiritual knowledge, the knowledge of soul, is the king of all knowledge. And Rajaguhyam, it is the secret of all secrets. It is the secret of all secrets. Pavitram idam uttamam. It is the most pure knowledge and is the highest knowledge. Uttamam. It's the best knowledge you can get. Pratyakshagam dharmyam. And you can see that. And it is dharmam susukham kartum avyayam. It is, and when you get into it, it gives you susukham, extreme happiness. Avyayam, which you cannot even spend. Got it? So we go to the next shlok. Tadbuddhyasthadatmanas.
Tadbuddhyasthadatmanas.
Tannishthasthatparayana.
Tannishthasthatparayana.
Gacchantya punaravrittim.
Gachanti apunarhavritam.
Jnana nirdhuta kalmashah.
Jnana nirdhuta kalmashah.
Tadbuddhyasthadatmanas.
Tadbuddhyasthadatmanas.
Tannishthasthatparayana.
Tannishthasthatparayana.
Gacchantya punaravritam.
Gachanti apunarhavritam.
Jnana nirdhuta kalmashah.
Jnana nirdhuta kalmashah.
Tad buddhyas tad atmanam. It says, let's read the English meaning. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge, and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. That is supreme. Buddhya is intelligence. So when your intelligence is completely involved in supreme, tad atmanam, when your mind is totally is involved in supreme, tad nishtha tad parayana, and when your faith and refuge all are fully engaged in supreme, then what happens? Gacchantya up. Then when you go punavrita, you will not come back again. Jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. It will take you to the this knowledge will help you to go straight in the path of liberation, right? So this is what is Krishna says here, that this knowledge is so great that it is like it helps you to see everything right, and then when you go, you will not come back again to this material world when you get liberated. And we go to the last shlok. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Brahmane Gavihastini.
Brahmane Gavihastini.
Shuni Chaiva Shapakecha.
Shuni Chaiva Shapakecha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Brahmane Gavihastani.
Brahmane Gavihastini.
Shuni Chaiva Shapakecha.
Shuni Chaiva Shapakecha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. The humble sages,
The humble sages,
by virtue of true knowledge,
by virtue of true knowledge,
see with equal vision,
see with equal vision,
a learned,
a
gentle Brahmin,
a gentle Brahmin,
a cow,
an
an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So what it says is, when you have the right knowledge, when you understand the knowledge of soul and understand the body, the relation of supreme, when you are clear about this knowledge, what is Jeev? Yeah, what is this material body? What is your relation? What is the relation between body and soul? What is the relation between soul and super and Paramatma and Krishna? When you have all these things clear, when you have all this knowledge, then what will happen? Then you will be able to see a Brahman, a cow, a elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, everything with an equal eye. With an equal eye means you will know that and in all these living entity, what is there? There is a soul, and that soul is a part of Krishna. It's a part of God, and because of their karmic reaction, they are in that state today. Doesn't mean that when when you say it's equal, it means you go and you put your hand in front of tiger. It doesn't say so. That is being foolish. It says then the person understand that everything has a soul, and it is a Paramatma is inside their body. You should not kill them. You should not kill, because when you're killing them, you're actually incurring lot of sins. You're actually killing. You're actually incurring lot of sins. So they're able to see everything, and you have to respect them. You have to, not that you someone is coming and dog is coming to your home and you not you let your not, no, you have to maintain the but you have to know that, yeah, God is everywhere, and they are in each of these, and they all are the same small particle of God which is there, and they will be able to see with equal eyes. Yeah. Okay, they will not be able to, similarly, like then we go beyond caste system. We understand that everything is bodily. We are above, and then everyone you see with the equal eye. Okay, so with this I will close today's class. Any questions? Those who are online, if you have any questions, please feel free to write it. I'll try my best to answer. Yeah, we'll chant the Mahamantra now and close it, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna.